One of the biggest problems I see with people trying to acquire a business is not laziness. In fact, sometimes it is the opposite. They're busy, they're researching, they're planning, they're rewriting letters, they're watching videos, they're studying industries, they're organizing notes, they're working on their website, they're polishing their LinkedIn profile. And at the end of the week, when I look at what actually happened, I often have to ask one question: who did you contact? Because that is where the truth shows up. Business acquisition does not happen in your head. It does not happen because you thought about calling a seller. It does not happen because you researched an industry for another 3 hours. It does not happen because you rewrote the same letter for the 10th time. Acquisition progress comes from external action, seller conversations, follow-up, banker conversations, board candidate conversations, attorney and accountant conversations, referral source conversations, real meetings, real feedback, real objections, real market intelligence, and that is what I call signal. Signal is the work that directly creates or advances acquisition progress. Noise is the work, distraction, or activity that consumes time but does not move the acquisition forward. And here is where people fool themselves. Noise does not always look like laziness. Sometimes noise looks very respectable. Sometimes noise looks like preparation. Sometimes noise looks like research. Sometimes noise looks like learning. Sometimes noise looks like planning. But if it does not lead to contact, follow-up, a meeting, or better acquisition conversation, you need to be very careful about calling it progress. Without question, preparation matters. I'm not saying it does not. You need a clear target industry. You need a simple acquisition message. You need a professional email address. You need a clean LinkedIn profile. You need enough credibility that when someone checks you out, nothing obvious works against you. And I call that minimum viable credibility. But notice the word minimum. Minimum does not mean perfect. Minimum does not mean spend 3 months pretending to build a private equity firm. Minimum does not mean hide behind your website. Minimum means clean enough, clear enough, professional enough, and then move. Preparation is signal when it supports a specific external action. For example, I'm cleaning up my LinkedIn by Wednesday so I can contact 20 sellers by Friday. That is useful preparation. But this is different. I'm working on my online presence. In that case, there's no deadline, there's no outreach target, there's no external action. This is probably noise. The same thing happens with industry X research. I'm going to identify 25 qualified targets in the HVAC industry by Thursday and mail them by Friday. That is signal. I am still researching industries. That may be noise. The question is not whether the activity feels productive. The question is whether it creates or advances an acquisition conversation. That is the standard I'd like you to use. And this is why time management alone is not enough. You do not need a prettier calendar. You need to protect the right work. Acquisition work cannot live in the leftover scraps of your week. If you're serious about acquiring a business, there must be protected acquisition time on your calendar. Your calendar tells the truth. If it is not scheduled, it probably will not happen. And if you already own or run a business, this becomes even more important. Your current business can become the vortex that you fall into. There is always something urgent: a customer issue, an employee problem, a vendor problem, a cash flow issue, an operational fire drill, and before you know it, the week is gone. The urgent defeated the important. Your current business protected today, but your acquisition work was supposed to build tomorrow. Both matter, but one cannot permanently consume the other. That is why in the MDA method course that I just produced, we do not just talk about motivation. Motivation is not enough. You can be motivated and still feed the noise. You can be excited and still avoid seller outreach. You can want the results and still miss the work. The MDA method is about turning motivation into disciplined weekly action. Every week, you should be able to answer these questions. What is the signal this week? What noise must I reduce? What external actions will I take? Who will those actions touch? How many will I do? When will I do them? What will I report? This is where the process becomes real. A vague goal is easy to hide behind. A real execution commitment is different. A real execution commitment is external. It touches another human being, and it is numeric. You can count it. It's controllable. You can do it without someone else's permission. And it is usually 1 week specific or daily. It lives inside this week, not someday, not soon, not when things slow down, but this week. So here's a question I want you to ask yourself. Are you protecting the signal or are you feeding the noise? Be honest. If you are doing research that leads to outreach, good. If you're preparing so you can make a call, good. If you're improving your credibility so a seller, banker, or board candidate takes you seriously, good. But if you're using preparation to avoid rejection, it is noise. If you're rewriting instead of sending, it's noise. If you're planning without contact, it's noise. If you're learning more but acting less, it is noise. The acquisition process rewards action, not hidden effort, not vague intention, not internal work that never touches the market. External action creates opportunity. Follow-up creates momentum. Tracking creates truth. Improvement creates progress. That is what the MDA method is designed to help you do. And that course is now live. So if you know that execution has been a weak spot, if you know you've been busy but not making enough real progress, I'd encourage you to take a look at the MDA course and get it, if those are things you struggle with. This course was created to help you stop drifting, protect the signal, reduce the noise, and take the external action required to acquire a business. And please, as I've said many times, never ask, never get. I hope you keep pushing. And to see the details on the MDA course, just go to brucewhipple.com/MDA. And take a look through it, understand what's there, but they're actionable videos that will work towards making you concentrate on the signal and eliminating more and more noise or distractions.